All right. Let's get Facebook in here, rocking and rolling, and we can start the show. Of course, as soon as I click it, it says Facebook issues. Facebook experiencing an outage that may affect problems going live, connecting Facebook to StreamYard. Issue depends on Facebook and is beyond our control. Good to hear. We're monitoring the situation until the issue gets solved by Facebook's team. Okay,
Thanks,
well,
guys.
looks like Facebook connected, so maybe it's solved, maybe it's not. You guys let us know. If you're in Facebook right now, say hello, click the thumbs up, and if you are there, what are you doing at Facebook? Head on over to YouTube and become a member of the MHH YouTube team. We got all our YouTube folks coming in here. Good to see. String Guy talking about our team says, hi all, I hear people calling for Nix to be replaced by Stidham. I honestly thought about just being a troll on Twitter and like posting that out there just to be a jerk. Not believing it at all, but I'm too busy packing up the move. Obviously, it's Bear behind me. I agree with String Guy. It's nuts. I didn't have the best first half, but Peyton certainly shares some of the blame for the boneheaded play calling. I think it's a little more complicated than the boneheaded play calling. A lot of it were runs that were checked to passes based on the pre-snap look, not necessarily incorrect based on the pre-snap look for checking into the passes from what my second watch through, but not executing at the end of the day. So calling for Stidham is nuts though. If we have, let's say we're 6 games and that's the baseline of Bo Nix, right, maybe we start to hear some calls. But right now, I mean, as critical as I am, because if the goal is Super Bowl, the bar is Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert, Joe Burrow. Like, sorry, if you have Super Bowl aspirations, Bo Nix has to be good. And he was not good against the Titans. But overall, yeah, I think it is nuts to be calling for Stidham after one bad game.
I mean, we could say that the start of the season, he had, 3-4 bad games to start the year?
And yeah, the Tampa Bay game was pretty good. But yeah,
okay, okay.
Yeah.
But I mean,
let me be pedantic,
mostly
Carl.
was
We're
bad.
already started. We're 2 minutes in.
Yeah, mostly bad.
Yeah.
But, you saw those little flashes. And there were still some good throws, some good moments in there. Obviously, the touchdown to Sutton, I thought was a great play, great design. I thought the play to Evan Ingram on a big third down where he was cutting across the field and he was stepping up in the pocket and had to kind of throw it across his body a little bit. I thought that was a great play by him. I mean, there's a few of those throws, some key third down throws that helped keep drives going that maybe last year we weren't able to do. And so it's not all bad. I think everybody looks at the raw stats and like, this sucks. This is terrible. And I do get, even watching the game, there was some bad. I do think the second interception was completely on him. Bad read. First interception, I'm going to put that about 50-50. I do think going back and watching, that safety was not supposed to be there. Marvin Mims was supposed to be taking a deep route where it took that safety in cover 2, and he didn't go full go. I thought that was probably one of the worst games by Marvin Mims that I've seen. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't just because of the muff punt. There were other things that he just did not give 100% effort, I felt like, in that game, that when they go back and watch, if you do that, Cortland Sutton to come across is completely wide open, and that's the perfect spot for Bo Nix to be throwing it to. And talking about perfect, we got Papa Bear coming in here. David with the $5 super saying, good evening, Broncos country, #13-4. Hey, we're one of those 13 wins already in the books. Yeah. So you're not wrong yet. That's a good way to start the season. And, thankfully, if you're going to have a bad game for Bo Nix, this was the game to do it, where you could mess up multiple times and the team still win by 8 points. I mean, I think that's still the craziest thing, is that you have 4 turnovers and you still win by 8 points. Mm-hmm. There's not many games that you're ever going to be able to do that. And
0 for 2 on fourth down too. 0 for 2 on fourth down. So
right. So it's kind of 6 turnovers if you're really looking at that one. And so, like I said, to come away with that kind of win, I mean, it shows, one, how great this defense is. I saw ESPN was trying to pump up Cam Ward's game wasn't as bad as people thought. No, it was a really bad game. He didn't have anywhere to go. The The pass rush was getting to him, obviously, the sacks, and they were bad sacks. Like, they're not that there's
To
a
me,
good sack.
he looked like a quarterback that's an NFL prospect on a team that is just overmatched. Like he belongs. Like I'm watching him like this Titans might have a guy. Like to what level? I don't know. He belongs, but it's kind of like watching, I don't know, let's say Cam Ward played at Northwestern and they were going up against Penn State. It's like their offensive line is getting whipped. They're dropping balls left and right. And he's making like some good plays. You can see the talent. But it's going to be an ugly stat line at the end of the day. But I was actually really impressed by Cam Ward, but that's
I don't think it was all bad.
We're grading on a curve there. Yeah.
Right. But I think he took some really bad plays.
Yeah.
That cost his team. I mean, obviously you're in field goal range. What's the one thing you can't do? Take sacks. Yeah. What does he do? He takes 2 sacks, and one of them being a negative 16 yards where he's drifting back, trying to do too much. And there's just that point where you just got to say, just go down. You know, Peyton Manning, the self-sack. It's okay. Sometimes it's better just to live for that next play. And maybe, like I said, you only lose 5 yards instead of that 16. And then you still got a chance to add a field goal to take the lead. And now it's 15-13, and you're putting all the pressure back on the Broncos, where now they've just completely taken back the momentum after a big turnover. And you went from easy points to nothing in a matter of 3 plays. And talking about everything, though, we got Michael Ronquillo coming in saying, good evening, Nick and Carl, and building the Broncos. Go, Bo Broncos. Good to see you in here, Michael. And good to see some Facebook that it is working. So hopefully that'll hold for the rest of the show. And we got Ralph coming in saying, Carl Dumler and Nick, is it just me or is the stadium new? Oh,
sorry. I don't know how that happened. I did that. There we go.
New, the least important news at the moment. Yeah. I mean, that is one of the big things today. Broncos are getting a new stadium. 2031 is supposed to be opening season for them. And I mean, it sounds like it's going to be state of the art. It's going to have retractable roof so that they can keep, you know, they can still have snow games. They could still bring all that elements into the game if they really want to do that. But this also opens them up to being able to have more things during the winter, possibly a Super Bowl at some point. I could also see them fighting for maybe, I don't know, I'm trying to think that the draft could also come in. I know they've worried about that, but they've had the draft in bad locations too for weather. I don't know why sometimes they mark that against the Broncos. And so I think the biggest news, though, Broncos owners are paying for every dime of that.
Yep. No tax money.
Huge.
That's huge news. The other big news is that they're keeping it in Denver. They're not building it out in Aurora or Lone Tree or somewhere else. I'm going to learn all these neighborhoods here pretty soon. But they're going to keep it in Denver, in Burnham Yard, which I guess is an old rail area in Denver, part of the historic site. And they're going to build up Broncos World. So that'll be really fun. It's going to be a massive, massive complex. And I'm excited to see what it can do. I think the start date they suggested was 2031. So we still got some time. It's going to be fun to follow. And boy, that stadium is going to have all the bells and whistles. They're not going to spare any expenses. So I'm excited to see what that looks like here in 6-7 years. I'm sure it's not going to be cheap to go, but man, it's we got to compete with Jerry World. So let's have Walmart Universe. Walmart World is better than Jerry World. I don't know. We got the WW there, but good to see you, Ralph. Thank you so much for the stars. You guys are great in that. When it comes to the Broncos and the stadium, they're not going to be underdogs in the slightest. They're going to have one of the best stadiums in all of professional sports.
That's right, because football is back, and everybody, we want you to know all about Underdog. It is the best place to make picks and win money all season long. Playing on Underdog is easy. Just pick whether your favorite players will go higher or lower on stats like touchdowns, receiving yards, interceptions, and more.
That's right. Get your picks right, and you could win up to 5,000 times your cash. You can play with as little as $1. So you think you've got to beat on what Bo Nix or any of the Broncos are going to do week 2 versus the Colts, who beat the pants off the Dolphins last week. Download Underdog and win some money.
I have so much fun playing Underdog and winning money while watching football. That's a touchdown, guys. Download the app today and sign up with promo code MHuddle to score $50 in bonus funds when you play your first $5. That's promo code MHuddle Millions of fans have already won billions making picks on Underdog. Will you be next? Underdog. Make picks and win money.
In Nebraska, 19 plus in Colorado for some games, 21 plus in Arizona, Massachusetts, and Virginia, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms _DFS_.html for details. Offer not valid in Maryland, Michigan, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. In New York, call the 24/7 Hope line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369.
Fantastic. Thanks, Underdog. And thanks to everybody in the chat today. Make sure you guys click the thumbs up on the way in and become a member like we talked about earlier. Good to see David Youngkin in the house. He says, does anyone think the Broncos defense can set the record for NFL sacks? We'll see, man. That's really exciting to see how good the Broncos get after it. They're not going to play against Cam Ward and that Titans offensive line every week, but right now they're on a good pace. And it's kind of like everything comes back to baseball stats, Carl. I don't know why, but it's kind of like I think of the home run chase, dating myself here in 1998. Got to start off strong to have a chance, but it's hard to carry through. So hopefully this is the start of good things to come, but I will start to pay attention to that come week 14 if we're on pace. Like if it's in striking distance and we got like a month left, then we're on watch. But right now, win football games, let it be part of your identity. It's possible though, David, man. That's one of your bold predictions. We should have had that with Eric and I show 2 weeks ago, a bold predictions of the season. Denver breaking the NFL sack record. I don't even know what that is, but Denver did set their record sack total last season. Heck, if they could break that, that would even be something, even if they don't come after the NFL record, because how regression comes and hits and everything like that. So we'll see, David. Good to see you. William's in here. William says that sorry, it's going to be a while before I forgive Sean for that. Yeah, William, I get it. Chicago Bears the most sacks in 84 with 72. That would be pretty hard to do, but one game at a time. I think they're on pace right now. NBLE test prep, good to see you. Hope you're doing well. We got Shaquille coming in. Good to see you over on YouTube. It says, no need to panic. It's just the first game. We still got a W. Yeah, the first win, week 1 win in the Sean Payton era in Denver. So good to get off on the right foot. Beating the teams you're supposed to beat. There's no style points in the NFL. Sure, we'd feel a little bit better if Bo Nix looked better or the offensive blocking for the run game looked better and we just dominated the Titans. But you should never apologize for a win in the end of the day in the NFL. Ernie Mays, great to see you. Hope you're doing well. Cody Cooper asks, do we have an ETA for Evan Ingram's return? Also, Nick, I'm up near your county today. Hauled steers from LA to Kennewick. Well, man, that's a long trek, and hope you're enjoying. I think the smoke cleared out, and it's kind of nicer right now. So I think Rainier's still hiding. We got some rain in the Cascades right now, but not my neck of the woods for much longer. I'll be making the trek to Denver here pretty soon. So good to see you, Cody. Appreciate you. Any news on Ingram that you've heard, Carl?
I haven't heard anything. Usually no news is good news. I know Sean Payton's pretty tight-lipped when it comes to injuries. He doesn't give a whole lot. He actually kind of gets mad at the media when they ask any kind of questions about injuries. And so I don't think we're really going to know until we get probably Friday and we get the official, is he going to play? Is he not going to play? It's kind of like Greenlaw. We've been hearing for weeks like, oh, it's a minor injury. We're just being cautious with it. And then we get to week 1 and all of a sudden it's like, oh, never mind. He's not going to play yet. So I don't know. I can never really get a good read on Sean Payton on when he's talking about injuries, because Marvin Mims, he was hurt last week or I guess it would have been 2 weeks now at the end of the week. And then by Monday he was back in practice. And Sean Payton has said, hey, it's no big deal. But he said the same thing about Greenlaw. And that's why I'm always confused when it comes to the injuries with Sean Payton.
We'll probably find out more tomorrow. Wednesday is when that first injury report comes out. I would be pretty darn surprised if Evan Ingram was in this Indy game. I'd be pretty surprised if he was there going to be week 3, but he hasn't already been placed on the short-term IR to make a spot. So I think if it was something, 4 weeks, we'd have already seen him placed on the IR, and they would have somebody called up and trying to figure out, how to get ready for this Colts game and what the four-week picture looks like. So probably week to week with that one. We'll hopefully get some more news on that tomorrow. But I think because he's not already on short-term IR, you should expect him back in the next 2 to 3 weeks. So
yeah,
we'll keep an eye on it. Luckily, Troutman and Kroll did kind of step up. We might be getting Atkins back this week. He's not on short-term IR. I do not believe. I think he can be back this week. And Prentice had a pretty good game, I thought, at fullback. So maybe you have Atkins play a little bit more tight end, maybe get a little bit more heavy. 21 personnel, or is that 12? 21 personnel with the fullback and the halfback in there. So we'll see. But I do expect him to be out for a little bit. We got Ricky Flores in the house. Hello, MHH and Broncos country. Let's get the win this week. Hopefully we get to see Greenlaw play also. Yeah, the Colts beat up the Dolphins pretty good, but I don't know. It just feels like this Dolphins team is kind of spinning. That Dolphins defense looked DOA in that game.
Yeah.
It's going to be a completely different punch that Denver delivers versus Miami or versus the Indy.
Yeah. It's one of those. Tyler Warren obviously had himself quite a good game, so I'd love to have Greenlaw back just to match up with him. But if he has to miss another week, I'm not going to be too worried. Like I said, Colts, I watched the game today. Some really bad plays by Miami early on, a couple bad turnovers that gave Indy great field position. Indy took advantage of it. I didn't feel like throughout the entire game that I was going, oh my gosh, this team just won 38-6. Like they are a dominant offense, dominant defense, or 38-8, I guess is what it was. And I never felt that way. It just felt like, oh, things got out of hand early. And it just, after that, there was no chance for Miami to ever get going. And like I said, Miami, it wouldn't surprise me if they're fighting for a top 5 pick this year. You know, they lost a lot in trades. Their whole salary cap situation got turned way upside down because they got very, very top heavy with Tyreek Hill, sorry. Waddle got up there in a big contract. I'm trying to remember all the people they have. They just had about 6 or 7 contracts that were really, really big and that they couldn't get out of without a ton of dead money. And so all these trades that they had to make, this is one of those years. They're just going to be a really bad team. Unless Tua all of a sudden becomes a top 5 quarterback, which I don't really see happening. He looks great right now. He looks a little scared, a little tentative. He was late on a lot of throws. There were guys open. He just was not hitting them. But a guy that does always hit, Paul coming in. Good to see you, Paul. Appreciate you joining us this evening. Saying Nick and Carl in the house. Yes, we are. Good to see you. And we got Jim as well saying hi to everybody. I appreciate everyone coming in on this day. And so I thought, are you ready to get into some stock report?
I do. I did want to say hello to Big E Bronco as well. One of our main guys in here says, I think we pressed more than reading the play, talking about Bo Nix. I think he pushed a little bit to the limit, and he didn't look so good when he pushed it. They just need to roll it back a little bit and move slowly. I think it just looked a little hyped up, a little amped up, and hopefully he can get a little bit better going forward. I mean, has some ugly tape out there. I'm sure the film room is not going to be super fun with Webb, Peyton, Stedham, and Nix this week. Good to see Chase Wellner in the house as well. I did see Stella in here, Glenn Ashley as well. Good to see you down under. Good morning to you. Good evening here, but good morning to you. Everyone needs to take a breath. Our offense is vastly different. It's going to take some time to gel. We got a W on the back of the defense. Offensive line was poor too, which didn't help. Suffocated Ward and the Titans. Adjustments will be high. Week 1, building to division win. And a lot of times, teams that are well coached, you might be a little bit slow out of the gate, week 1 through 4. You might come out firing too, but good coached teams, you see them grow and develop throughout the course of the season. And that's something we've seen, small sample size again, but 2 seasons with Sean Payton, they've grown tremendously after that first quarter of the season. So it might be kind of static / sloppy again versus the Colts. First road game, Indy, feeling themselves a little bit. Unfortunately, a game that coming down to wild card might be one that Denver needs at the end of the season. We'll see. I know we got higher aspirations than that, but wild card would be good too. I won't fight a playoff berth, but it might still be a little sloppy. That doesn't mean we should freak out, but we will still analyze what's in front of us.
Yeah. I remember there were a lot of years the Patriots would start out like 1-3 or 1-2. And then you'd hear all the national media guys like, oh, is this the end of the Brady era? Have they finally reached their point where they aren't any good? And then all of a sudden they run off like 10 straight games where they look very dominant. It almost felt like they were treating those first few games, like I said, more as a, hey, let's figure out what works, what doesn't work. We haven't had these guys on the field a whole lot together. And now this is their time of kind of working through this. It's almost like an extra preseason. And which, I mean, yes, those games count. So you need to win them when you possibly can. And so thankfully Broncos coming away with that win. If they can get another one here while they're still learning, I'm going to feel pretty good about this season. I think this is obviously going to be a tougher one on the road. Indy obviously showed that they've got a little something going, but I don't think it's going to be that hard to also rattle Daniel Jones. Miami didn't have obviously the best pass rush out there. They didn't have a great secondary to keep things easy or keep things difficult of what he's looking at. So this is going to be a whole new animal for him. And I could see him being almost a little bit overconfident. Look at how great of a game we had. And then all of a sudden, boom, they show up with a few extra things that he's not used to and a couple big turnovers for the Broncos this time where it goes in their favor and maybe they can get something going. And I do hope, obviously, the Broncos will lean a lot more into the run game. I think they will. I think, like I said, Titans kind of, I guess, dared Bo Nix to beat them. You know, they really did load up the box and just kind of say, hey, we want to see what can you do? What are these new weapons really going to be for you? And things just didn't quite click right. And so Indy this last week, I think they had the least loaded boxes on defense of any team in the NFL. Now, obviously, Miami getting down early where they had to switch the pass plays into that. But I do think Indy might allow a little bit more opportunity for some run game to take off. And if they can get going, I mean, I love the run game. The few carries we did do, it looked pretty darn good. J.K. Dobbins had himself a decent game. Obviously, R.J. Harvey, 6 carries, 70 yards. He's, I think, 6th in the NFL in rushing right now as a running back on 6 carries. I mean, obviously the big one for 50 yards, but even beyond that, I thought he looked really good as a pass blocker on the couple opportunities he got with that. And the other carries, I thought he was doing very well of actually finding the right hole, picking up the yards that were allowed by the play. And so I think the run game could be a plus this week for the Broncos.
Yeah, I hope so. I do not expect to go against the level of beef that the Titans had on the inside. And Sean Payton talked about it as well in press conference today, Monday, one of the days. They all come together when you're packing like I am. You should see the number of boxes to the right of me here. But said that, gave in a run play that you can check into a pass, and maybe, going into this week, maybe giving 2 runs instead, or not giving anything that you can check into a pass. But doesn't mean it was the wrong check by Nix, but you got to execute still. And sometimes you do need to run the football. Good to see George Fox. I hope we put out a better effort in this game. Otherwise, it could be a close game. I mean, if Denver's offense played like they did versus Tennessee, I would say it could be a close game going the other way. 4 turnovers, that doesn't win you many games. I think your win percentage of games where you cough the ball up 4 times has got to be 1%, 0.5%. I mean, it's got to be really, really low. So I would not expect an effort like that again to get a dub. Good to see Joe Brewer in the house. Kirsten, Bailey Drummer, awesome to see you. Pearl's in the house too. Great to see you. Jerron Washington, fantastic. Hope you're doing well, Jerron. Always appreciate Jerron coming in here, helping out and supporting the chat. Ernie's always giving out his prediction, 24-9 Colts. 24-9 would mean the Broncos take care of the football. I mean, the only reason it wasn't more of a blowout versus the Titans was because Denver put the defense in some bad situations and the Titans took care of it, scored from good field position. So hopefully that's not the case in this one. We got Kirsten coming back in here. Good to see you. Says, thanks for the awesome content as always. Go Broncos. Thank you so much, Kirsten. Hope you're doing well. Appreciate it. And stock report now, Carl. I'm going to go first if that's okay with you. I like to be, it's a win. We're going to be a little bit more rosy in this one. And I know that he already just signed a big contract, biggest contract in Broncos history, perhaps as well. I know it's the biggest one on the team currently, but in Broncos history, non-quarterback contract. Okay, there you go. Well, my God, Russell Wilson. Yeah. Let's forget about biggest. I don't remember that one. Let's memory hold that one. Men in Black. Look here, but Nick Bonito. My God, Scott's making me laugh. What a game from Nick Bonito. 9 pressures, unbelievable. Now, granted, the Broncos did a pretty good job, especially in the second half, of getting rid of that run game. And Nick Bonito's still not going to be, the world's, Myles Garrett level or Max Crosby as far as like the run defense, edge setting early downs. But you get him in 3rd and long or obvious pass situations, and he is up there with the best pass rushers in football. The speed, the bend, the get off. There was that one play, I think it was a handoff, and my God, he almost took the ball before the Cam Ward can hand it off to the freaking running back. So stock up for me. Nick Bonito, somebody that when the Broncos drafted him, like, kind of a weird player. Not many smaller players are doing great right now. I'm kind of more of the Vic Fangio.
Mm-hmm.
I want a little bit more of the beef length kind of guys. But oh my God, Bonito, maybe the best pure speed rusher in the NFL right now. Jared Verse is incredible. Will Anderson's incredible. But if he keeps playing like he did against the Titans, he's going to be up there. So shout out Nick Bonito. Stock up for me. And it was already a stock up week after that contract, but stock up from that as well.
Yeah. He had 22 pass rush attempts. 9 of them ended in pressures. That is just crazy numbers. And I think almost all of them were under 2.5 seconds.
Crazy.
The funny thing is probably the one he didn't win, the least that he won was the one he got the sack on. Cooper got the pressure, and Ward had to step into a different spot, and Bonito just happened to be there. There was about 3 or 4 others that should have been a sack. If it wasn't first read, get it out as quick as possible, it would have easily been a big, big sack. And I mean, there's going to be a few of those obviously that happen each year. He could put up some really big numbers this year. I mean, it's crazy that he was a 2nd-team All-Pro last year, and he might be better. That's the good news for the Broncos. And I'll go with another pass rusher, Jonah Ellis.
Mm-hmm.
He might have had the play of the game. That 16-yard loss for when they were in field goal range on a 2nd down. I mean, he had an incredible inside move where he got across the face of the tackle and just plowed through. I mean, it could have been a holding call as well as he was getting through there. And it was, and beyond that, I really think Jonah Ellis is emerging as a top quality edge guy. Not just as a backup guy, but I think as just a true edge guy. I think there's a lot of teams that he could be a starter on in the NFL, and teams would be happy to have him. And I just think for the Broncos to have him as one of their rotation guys right now, that's just crazy talk. I mean, we're talking, I don't want to say this is the 2015 defense, but I think it was so amazing that you had obviously Von Miller, DeMarcus Ware, but then you had Shaq Barrett back there as well. A guy that a couple years later would be leading the NFL in sacks for another team, unfortunately. And I think Jonah Ellis is just one of those guys that let's say we do go win 12, 13 games this year, and you're looking back and saying, who were the players that really made that difference, that were, from last year to this year, that really helped them get even over that, to get to be the divisional champs. I'm guessing if you win 12, 13, you're winning the division. I think Jonah Ellis is going to be one of those guys you're looking at going, yeah, he took that next step for you.
He had a heck of a game. Denver has a chance to have one of the, now granted, it's easy for us to say this early, having watched every single team, every single edge rushing trio, but man, Denver's in the conversation for sure to have one of the best trios of edge rushers in the NFL if they look like that. And it's pretty crazy considering the draft capital Denver used to get those guys. Last pick of the 2nd round, early mid 3rd round pick, 7th round pick. But they're good. They're getting it done. I mean, the results speak for themselves. Now, granted, Surtain is still the straw that stirs the drink. You got Zach Allen. You got depth on the interior as well. But they're getting it done, and they're getting after it. So really excited to see what that trio can continue to do this season. Now I'm going to do a stock down. It is unfortunate, but I'll take the easy one here. Bo Nix. I mean, just not a good game. Don't pee on me and tell me it's rain, right? Like that kind of thing. Like, we don't have to panic by any means, but let's call it as it is. He struggled in this one. Thing that drives me nuts is that just not everything has to be a freaking trick shot, dude. Like, you are playing. I said it on Monday morning as well. Tom Brady for me is the perfect pocket quarterback because of no matter how chaotic or muddy the pocket was, he was staying square and he had a repeatable delivery. Now, it's really nice to have in your back pocket the ability to throw off platform, different angle shots around a guy. That's no basis for a drop back pass game at all. And it's just feels like it's way too often leaving a pocket early, it's coming up too soon, dropping the eyes, and just making things harder than they need to be. It's not repeatable delivery from the quarterback, not necessarily smooth. Could come back to us talking about him being amped up, too revved up, trying to make too much happen. But I don't know. I just want a little bit more. I love the fire from Bo Nix, but I want a little bit more of like a calm heartbeat coming out there. The pulse slow. And he did not play like a low pulse quarterback in this game. Played way too amped up, and mistakes happen then. So I just want to see him get back there, be smooth, be a calm operator. The trick play is nice to have when you have to do it. It can't be 50 to 60% of your drop back passes.
Yeah. And this was one of those games, and there's going to be a lot of these for Bo Nix this year, that he's got to remember he is maybe the best defense in football. You don't have to go out there and put up 30 plus points a game to go win. You don't have to go be Joe Burrow, what he has there with the Bengals. And I mean, I guess they won 17-16 this week, but they were playing the Browns too. So, but he's got to remember that sometimes it's okay just to take the check down. Sometimes it's okay just to take the 5-yard gain and move on to the next play. Like I said, you don't have to be hero ball all the time. You don't have to be looking for the big play every single time, and just protect the football. Yes, there's going to be some games we're going to need you to go make a couple plays. And I think you have that. I think he has that ability to do that. But right now in some of these other games where we're going to win if we don't shoot ourselves in the foot. And what did the Broncos do? They shot themselves in the foot 6 times, and somehow they still walked away with the win because that defense was just otherworldly in this game. But most games you're not going to be able to get away with that. So he's just got to learn, like you said, sometimes just calm down, take the easier throw. Don't always be looking for the hero ball. Don't be trying to run around, do too much. The fumble. I felt like he was just trying to do too much and ran right into some pressure. And the second interception, another one where he's just trying to do too big of a play. It wasn't there. It's not open. Defense had it completely covered. There was no chance. So I guess I'll go stock down. I'll go to Marvin Mims. I talked about him earlier. Like I said, he had the muff punt. On offense, it wasn't like he was that dynamic playmaker that we saw over the last 8 weeks of the season. He didn't get some of the plays that he had last year. But again, I talked about it earlier. There's a couple plays where I'm going, he was not going 100%. He didn't think the ball was coming his way. And he's just got to learn. Even when you don't think the ball's coming your way, like you going 100% can mean another guy getting open. We've talked about it before of the 20, I think it was either the 2020 or the 2021 draft, when we're looking at like Henry Ruggs, Jerry Jeudy, CeeDee Lamb. And part of what we loved about Henry Ruggs, the player, not everything else that happened, was that he could open up so many other things that he doesn't have to get the ball to make a play. That him just being able to run by everybody and make defenses have to respect his deep speed really opens up the middle intermediate part of the field for everybody. And Marvin Mims could be doing that, where he's opening things up for other players, but he's got to learn sometimes you've got to be the unselfish player and run full speed, even if you're not going to get it.
Yeah, it was not a good game for Marvin Mims, no doubt. I've kind of maybe relinquished to resign myself that he's never going to be a great pass catching weapon for the Broncos, route runner, tough over the middle, coming down with football. But like the muff punt, cannot have that. Can't have that. That's your value for this team right now. We can get you involved in the offense, but man, it cannot have the muff punt. So definitely stock down. I'm going to stick in the wide receiver room as well. It's kind of a small stock down. I know it's back to stock up, but I'm going to go back to stock down, and then we'll do another stock up here, Carl. Just we'll sandwich it. Oreo cookie.
Yeah.
Richie Rich asked if I'm destroying the room, empty shelves. I'm moving, Richie Rich. I'm off to Denver here in about a week, so a little over a week. It's complicated, but you should see. I probably have like 40 boxes next to me here, but no, it's stock down for me. This is a smaller one, but it has to be stock down. Trent Sherfield. you're brought in to be kind of a little Jordan Humphrey replacement. You're brought in to block and be, a valuable player out there on the boundary for that. And you get called for 2 holds. Now, granted, one of them may be fluky, but I don't care. Cannot have it. Cannot have it. So Trent Sherfield, if you're not going to be out there doing that, then we got problems. So can't have it. Trent Sherfield, stock down.
Yeah, I've seen a couple other people put some names in here, and I'm with a lot of people on. I'll go the offensive line there in the middle a little bit. I thought especially Luke Wattenberg. I get he had a really tough matchup. Devondre Sweat, probably the biggest, strongest guy he's going to go against all year long. Maybe Jalen Carter when we play Philly. That might be a tougher. I mean, it's going to be a tougher matchup. But Sweat was just not a good matchup for him. And that 4th and 1 where he got pretty much pushed back and Bo Nix got hit in the backfield when you really need that play, that could have been a game changer that lost you the game. And there's a couple other times on pass sets where he was not in great position. Run blocking was hit and miss for him. And I get like the whole offensive line is learning this new wide zone. I mean, it's not new, but I mean, they're running it on a more regular basis. And so everybody's having to try to adjust to some of this, but he's one of those guys at the end of the year. I'm going to say, hey, thanks for your time here, but yeah, we can upgrade this position. I don't think he's going to be one of those guys that we're all going to be going, please sign this guy. I just think he's that weak link on the offensive line. And if you're going to have a weak link, I'd say maybe center is the one you can have it at, because at least then, as long as they're not messing up the snap, that's the only part there. But usually they're helping with double teams, so it's not as bad. But still, it would be great if we had, a top 15 center here in Denver. We haven't had that here for a while. So we got Cody W coming in. He's a top 15 guy, though, saying Bo looked like he had happy feet. Not sure if it was the constant pocket collapsing, but it kind of seemed like fundamentals went out the window. Yeah, I'd agree. I think his footwork was off. His technique just fell apart. Everything that he worked on this summer that everybody's talked about, it just seemed to not be there. And he just kind of seemed to allow his athleticism to be what he wanted to rely on for this one. And obviously we saw it was not very accurate. There's a lot of throws that were just not quite where they needed to be. They're about 2-3 feet off. And I know
some
like
good plays by the pass catchers to bring them in outside the ideal target zone.
Right. And that's when he was yelling at Kroll when he didn't settle in on the zone. And I get it, but you were way off on that throw too. Like even if he was like slowing down, I still think you would have missed him. If that's what we're really looking at here for Bo. I think he put too much on Kroll for not stopping where he needed him to stop. And so, yeah, Bo, he's just got to calm down. Like I said, he was just really amped up. I mean, that I think there's been a lot of pressure put on him this year by Sean Payton, the media, everybody just talking about, it's all up to Bo Nix. If Bo Nix can be this next great quarterback, they could really be Super Bowl contenders. And I think he feels the weight of the entire team on his shoulders, and he's talked about it in the media too, where he's like, my biggest thing is I don't want to let my teammates down. Well, the best way you can not let your teammates down is for you to be you and just relax and go play football. Mm-hmm. Not feel like you have to do everything on the field to go win the game. Just do your job. Tell everybody else they're going to be doing their jobs. That's all you would ever require of them. Require that of yourself too.
Yeah. Good to see you, Cody. Appreciate you. Bo Nix last season, I mean, it's not to just harp on him, but the reality was he statistically was one of the worst quarterbacks under pressure. He wasn't under pressure very often, but he struggled under pressure. And his stats in this one were also pretty poor under pressure. So, again, something to watch. Just one game sample size. That one's a trend, though. And hopefully we see it get a little better here. We got Clayton Huron in the house. Hey, guys. Smash that like button and share. Appreciate you. Hope you're doing well. Stock up for me. Carl, quickly, and I think we talked about it. Maybe it was a show with you and I, but somebody who's going to become a quick fan favorite, Talanoa Hufanga. Man, team leader in tackles, that forced fumble just around the football. Last year, this Broncos defense, as good as they were, I feel like they lacked a little bit of that fear factor insane person edge that, really the great defenses tend to have. Like somebody is like, okay, don't do too much because he might like, beat you up, like that kind of thing, or like hurt you or hurt himself in the process and won't care. Like he'll make himself bleed. I don't care. That's kind of what you're getting from Hufanga. And man, we saw that rocking around that number 9 jersey, the hair and everything like that. I mean, just the aesthetic is hard to beat. Bonito and Hufanga, top aesthetic team, and Surtan, man. It's can't wait for the throwbacks on those guys. But Hufanga was fantastic. Unfortunately, so far, we have two of our big 3 signings in free agency have already wound up going to miss time because of injury, in Ingram and Greenlaw. Hopefully we don't have that with Hufanga as well, but he was awesome in this game, and I'm really excited to continue to watch him because, man, he is just a havoc creator and a splash play waiting to happen and stock up. I was excited to watch him, and he met expectations in this game for me.
Yeah, the instincts beyond just the intimidation factor of him. Hey, this is where the ball's going. He was in the right place pretty much every single play. Nothing. I don't want to completely harp too much on PJ Locke last year, but it was so hit and miss. And that was kind of our defense last year. There were incredible moments where you're going, how did they make that play? And then other times you're going, what are you seeing? What are you doing out there? This guy just ran right by you for an easy play. And where with Hufanga, I don't think I'm going to have to worry about that. He just seems so instinctual of where the ball's going. Like I said, coming down, helping out in that run game. He made some incredible plays. I mean, the defensive line held everything up, but then you got to have somebody that comes in and cleans everything up, finishes it. And having a finisher like Hufanga is going to make this defense go to a whole new level for sure. And, I'll stick on the defense. I'll go with an Iowa boy, Riley Moss. He looked like what he was the first 8 games of last year. He was instinctual. He was, even when he got beat that one play, his recovery speed to turn around, go still make the play, that was incredible to watch. And for the first half of the game, Cam Ward didn't even look Patrick Surtain's way. So there was a lot of pressure on Riley Moss to have to go out there and be perfect to really hold him like they did. And I thought then beyond that, he might be the best cornerback when it comes to screen passes. When they're coming his way, like the aggressiveness that he has, not just kind of waiting, okay, let's see back here. This guy's blocking me. Let's try to force him back inside. He's going to go blow that play up. I mean, he's just going to attack as much as he possibly can. And it just led to about 2 or 3 negative plays because of his aggressiveness that way. And I just love to see it. I hope he stays healthy. I mean, everybody knock on wood. Riley Moss, stay healthy. So we have that really good number 2 cornerback. And I loved getting to see him back to how he was before he got hurt.
Yeah. We got Patrick in the house. Aloha. Good to see you, Patrick. Hope you're doing well out there in Hawaii. Good to see you. Richard Miles. Hey, good to see you. I'll take it. I wish I could watch it up here. Good to see you, Richard. Appreciate you always coming in, hanging out with us. And I love that you give Moss a shout out because he was another one I wanted to give a positive to because seems like him and Sutton, people are so ready to jump on them and bury them. I don't quite fully get it. Both pretty 2 good players. And it's not like, obviously those are 2 value spots, but it's not like the quarterback where you need an A-level quarterback. Otherwise it's going to be freaking hard in the league. Like you can get by with B cornerback, especially if you have Surtain. And would you rather have Sutton be Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, hell, Nico Collins level? Yeah, he's not. Got to figure out other ways to move it. He's still valuable. He's not getting paid like he's a top 3 wide receiver. So he's happy to have him here. And also, by all accounts, a fabulous person. So love to have those guys as well. I do have one more stock up, and the chat already kind of jumped on this one as well. But Justin Sternad kind of been a little bit of the I wouldn't say the butt of the jokes by any means on this podcast, but definitely not a believer in Justin Sternad. And, one game doesn't make me think that he should be replacing Singleton or replacing Greenlaw or anything like that if both are healthy. But he held his own out there. And that's something that the more he plays like that, the more valuable he is and the more I enjoy having him as a backup player. Again, probably one that you don't ever really truly want in a long-term starter, but really happy to have him in the room. And especially when you have Singleton coming back off of injury and Greenlaw's injury history, you feel a little bit more confident. Like, okay, well, we can get by some games. Sternad is not going to get eviscerated out there in the wrong position, just making bad plays. Like he's a damn good depth player at that spot,
Yeah.
also while bringing special teams value. So stock up to Sternad. He had a good game, and really do appreciate him stepping in the role and not missing a beat.
Yeah. I thought this was an interesting one of Kirsten saying, was there anyone on our defense that you would say stock down? Singleton. It's probably the guy I would look at. I thought there was a couple times he was slow to diagnose, out of position, coverage wise. Like there, especially at the end of the game, he was pretty lucky that there was a couple drops. He was supposed to be a little bit deeper in his zone. He got caught either thinking it was a run play or I don't know what he was doing. But if you actually watch those plays, it's Singleton trying to catch up, and he's about 5 yards behind the receiver and just not in a good position. Drops helped him, but he's probably the one player. And it's not like he had a bad game, just compared to everybody else who was at this like complete elite level. I would say that would be the guy. But my last stock up here, I'm going to combine this as two rookies because I think both of them deserve a shout out. RJ Harvey, obviously 6 carries, 70 yards. I thought he also did really well as a pass blocker, as I said earlier. That 50-yard play, that just really changed the whole dynamic of the game.
Yes, it did.
The entire offense had really stalled out at that point, and it was just kind of like, oh, crap, what are we going to do? And then, boom. I mean, we had nothing like that last year.
No.
It just was that was the best run we've had in probably 2-3 years here in Denver by an actual running back. Bo Nix has had some really good runs, but as a running back, to see him go do that. And then he did it up the middle of the field. You know, it wasn't like it was a toss play to the side and he's just using his athleticism. He had incredible vision to really work through there, start off to the right, work it back to the left. Great play. The other guy, Crawshaw, I think he deserves an incredible shout out for the punting that he had in this game. Like all of us were in this place of, should the Broncos bring in at least some competition? Because right now he's looking like the worst punter in football. And I think you could have an argument that he was the best punter in the NFL for week 1. He just did a great job pinning them inside the 10-yard line. There wasn't a single punt that I was like, oh, man, what were you doing? No, it was very controlled. They never had an opportunity to really set up any kind of return, at least on the punt. The kickoff, that's a different story. But Crawshaw, I think he really deserves a huge shout out after the preseason he had to bounce back like that in a very pressure game where one bad punt really could have made or break that team. But he really stood up to it.
Yeah. I was hoping you'd bring up Crawshaw. He had a great game. I've definitely been on his butt because not super duper competent in the offense, and your punter better be living up to it if you're going to play that style of ball control with the defense. And a punter can be a weapon if you do that. So he did step up and he had a heck of a game. Earlier, somebody asked stock down for Broncos defense. Not necessarily his play on the field, but just the limited snaps, I guess, is Jahdae Barron getting 21 snaps, which is still not nothing, but stock down. That's your first round pick, and Jaquan McMillan definitely the starter there over him, and Moss playing well as well. So probably somewhat of a stock down on Barron. He did show some good plays, but again, first round pick, especially when the pick that went right before, and Emeka Egbuka has 100 yards and 2 touchdowns. It's like dang, Egbuka looked. Sorry, Scott. Egbuka looked pretty good for the Buccaneers. But yeah, you guys let us know in the chats. Any other thoughts on your stock up, stock down? Anybody we missed out on that one? I know a lot will be made about Bo Nix, and again, we're going to analyze the game for what it was. It was not a good game. Does that mean he's got a bad quarterback or the Broncos need to replace him? No, but we are. It's a puzzle piece in the sample size, so hopefully he can build and do better in this one. Same with the defense. Defense played great. Awesome. Not too high, not too low. We'll see if they can continue that. So excited to see. Todd listed a bunch. Good to see you, Todd. Sorry, trying to hang out and do everything else on here as well. Checking out the chat. But yeah, a lot of stock up, a lot of stock down. We went through a good amount of the team, and hopefully with the Ingram information, maybe some stock up next week for Pat Bryant, who we didn't see much of this week. I'm hoping that he gets involved in this game, but it's 7:00 Mountain Time, Carl. I got to get back to packing here and get on the father-dad duty, and also make sure I wake up in time for everything tomorrow for the morning shows. But any final thoughts before we wrap it up?
Yeah, like I said, I'm not too down on the offense. I think a lot of the things that went wrong are very correctable. Getting the play in a little bit quicker, getting everybody up there, giving Bo Nix a little more time to actually read what the defense is doing instead of, I felt like he just was rushed all day. And I think if you can get the play call in a little bit better, and I think that'll correct a lot of that for him, get his internal clock calmed down just a little bit. And so, yeah, I'm not too worried about it. I kind of expected it might be a little bit rougher game, just week one. It does take a little bit of time to everybody get back on the same page. And especially a lot of new moving pieces on that offense compared to last year. So I expect a little bit better this week. Each week get just a little bit better on that side. And hopefully the defense keeps playing at the level that they are. And knock on wood, no more injuries. And maybe Greenlaw gets back this week. And all of a sudden Tyler Warren, who goes from possibly rookie of the week to completely disappeared. That would be great to see. So I'm excited for this game. I think this will be a really good test for them against a team that has a few more weapons on offense. Defensively, I think you can take advantage of them. I think there's some opportunities for some big plays there, especially in the run game. And so if I was doing fantasy football this year, I'm actually not doing it this year. Just life is kind of crazy. So decided I better stay away from it this year. But RJ Harvey would be one of those guys I'd be putting into my lineup, thinking he's going to have maybe a couple big plays in this one.
And I guess we do need to spend at least a minute talking about the news of the day for the Broncos, other than the stadium stuff, which we did. But Denver signing Deuce Vaughn to the practice squad. Kansas State, home of the A-hole. That's for you, Carl, out there in Manhattan, Kansas, the Little Apple. Is a practice squad running back. We'll see if he sticks around. I don't know if it's a indictment on Watson or McLaughlin or Tyler Beatty, who probably could have deserved a stock down talk after this bad game. Be nice to have some running backs who can block. I don't think that's Deuce Vaughn's bag. But Denver does sign Deuce Vaughn to the practice squad, who was a very fun college running back.
He was. I mean, and he was one of those big play lightning bug. Never knew when he was going to emerge with taking off for a 50-yard run. And so every once in a while, it's nice to have that kind of player in your back pocket if you need them, if there is an injury. Like I said, Bidet had probably one of the worst games of anybody on offense, not named Bo Nix. I mean, a couple drops where it wasn't even really like a drop. It was like he didn't even know that the ball would be coming his way. And it just hit him and his hands weren't even close to being up yet. And so I don't think he's in danger of losing his job or his spot on the 53-man roster because they brought in Vaughn by any means. But I do think more than anything else, Vaughn just kind of symbolizes these are the kind of running backs that Sean Payton likes. He likes those big play guys that can change a game with one play. And maybe Vaughn could be that moving forward at some point. And running back is one of those positions that you do see a lot of injuries. J.K. Dobbins has been injured a lot. So it wouldn't surprise me if we ever see him go down. And so just having some guys in the background that you can use is always good. And Cody W coming in with the $2 saying, go K-State. I'm a KU guy, so sorry, not my cup of tea. I did go to a lot of K-State games because I lived in Manhattan, hung out in the A-hole, all those kind of things. But no, I'm not the biggest K-State fan by any means. I don't wish them ill, but I also don't wish them good either.
Yeah, we both have something in common there, Cody. Iowa State beating both of us, Iowa Hawkeyes as well. And shout out to String Guys fighting the Illini. Good season. I like Bielema. So boo KU. Good to see you. David, this is aloha. This is hello, goodbye, good evening, gents, and goodbye, gents. We're going to wrap it on up. Make sure you guys are following Carl and I on Twitter. Carl's at Carl Dumler, MHH. I'm at Nick Kendell, MHH. Also follow us at Mile High Huddle. If you're over on Facebook.com, head on over to YouTube. Become a member of the MHH YouTube team, but we still take you on Facebook, of course. StreamYard's having Facebook issues all the time. So if you want to hang out with us and, the shows are going live, go on YouTube. Luckily, Facebook did connect today, but we had a blurb as soon as I clicked to connect that Facebook was having issues. So, and StreamYard's like, this is not our fault. This is Facebook. So head over to YouTube, but Facebook.com/Mile High Huddle and Facebook.com/Mile High Huddle pod. can help us a heck of a lot. And as that ticker says underneath, please subscribe, like, and share. Make sure you guys are checking out Underdog as well. We're going to get on out of here. Carl, good to see you. We'll see you next Tuesday. Appreciate everyone. Have a great rest of your evening. See you in the morning. Choose kindness and compassion. Go Broncos.